Hello. My name is Jennifer Runyon, R-U-N-Y-A-N, and I'm the Special Agent in charge of the FBI Detroit Field Office. First, our hearts continue to be with the Jewish community and the victims here in Michigan as they recover from this devastating attack. Thankfully, the brave officers and security personnel who protected the temple yesterday are recovering, and we continue to pray for their speedy recovery, their speedy healing. Acts of violence against houses of worship, schools, and our communities have no place in Michigan, and the FBI continues to work tirelessly to provide support for these families and to investigate the events that led up to this ruthless act of violence. Now I'd like to provide an update about this active and ongoing investigation. We are aware that there's been a significant amount of public reporting about the assailant. However, because we are only 30 hours into this active investigation, it would be irresponsible for me to speculate about his motive at this time. Our team has been working around the clock to ensure that we remain focused on providing confirmed facts about this investigation rather than uncorroborated speculation. The FBI continues to process the evidence we've collected from the temple, the vehicle, and surrounding locations. At this time, there are no new known threats to the community, and the FBI has no indications that this attack was connected to the shooting at Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia. The FBI has forensically confirmed that the assailant responsible for carrying out this attack was Ayman Mohammed Ghazali, age 41, from Dearborn Heights, Michigan. He has no previous criminal history and no registered weapons. He also has never been the subject of an FBI investigation. As for the preliminary timeline of yesterday's events, here's what I can provide. At approximately 9:58 a.m., Ghazali drove his gray Ford F-150 into the parking lot of Temple Israel. From approximately 10 a.m. to 12:15 p.m., Ghazali remained parked in his vehicle in the parking lot. No other persons or vehicles were observed associating with him. At approximately 12:15 p.m., Ghazali starts driving through the parking lot, and approximately 12:19 p.m., Ghazali drives his vehicle into door 5 on the southeast corner of the building, hitting a security guard on his way in. At approximately 12:20, Ghazali's vehicle gets jammed between hallway walls, and he begins firing through the windshield of his vehicle. Ghazali and the first security officer engage in a gunfight through the rear window of Ghazali's vehicle. And at this point, Ghazali is unable to extract himself due to the vehicle being jammed in the hallway. At approximately 12:22 p.m., a second security officer engages Ghazali in a gunfight from the front of the vehicle. And soon thereafter, Ghazali's vehicle, his engine compartment, catches on fire, and at some point during the gunfight, Ghazali suffers a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. In the bed of the truck, we found large quantities of commercial-grade fireworks and several jugs of flammable liquid we believe to be gasoline, some of which has been consumed in the fire. Again, I'd like to commend the teachers and the staff who successfully evacuated the children during this attack. We realize this is a traumatic event for everyone, and as a result, we have set up the Family Assistance Center to provide victim services support and resources here at the J Detroit for any individuals affected by this tragedy. For those looking to recover their personal items that were left at Temple Israel during this attack, you and your family can recover your items here at the Family Assistance Center at the old fitness area of the J throughout the weekend. For the public, I continue to ask everyone and anyone if you have any additional information about the subject or this incident to submit a digital media tip at www.fbi.gov/West Bloomfield attack or to call our tip line at 1-800-CALL-FBI. We ask that you continue to provide any information that you deem helpful, no matter how small you think it is. Additionally, if you or someone you know, a family member, a coworker, or a friend, is exhibiting concerning behavior or making threats towards themselves or others, please call your local police department or the FBI, once again, at 1-800-CALL-FBI. We need the community's help to keep everyone safe. I would also like to thank our state, local, and federal partners, along with the Jewish Federation, the Jewish Community Security, and the Temple Israel Security, as well as the local community, for all of their collaboration as we continue to work this investigation. Our partnerships and efforts are focused on keeping these communities safe, and we cannot mitigate or fully investigate these incidents without their tireless support. Lastly, I just want to leave you with this. The FBI will continue in our no-fail mission to defend the homeland against those who intend to create fear or harm. And I also encourage all of our places of worship to remain vigilant. I'd like to encourage our houses of worship and schools to work with their local, state, and federal partners to get active shooter training, such as the FBI's active shooter attack prevention and preparedness training, to ensure everyone is protected while our first responders arrive to stop threats. At this time, I'll turn it over to Sheriff Bouchard.
Thank you. First, I'd like to say thank you to everybody that did respond, state, federal, all of our partners. There was a total of 605 law enforcement officers that responded to the scene from 42 different agencies. That's the way we work in this area. You know, time and time again you see things on television, on TV shows where there's animosity between agencies. We don't see that here. We have a shared mission, and that's to keep the community safe. It operated seamlessly. Everybody came from wherever they could. And one of the things that's amazing to me, given that you had 605 law enforcement coming here with breakneck speed, there was only one accident where one detective on the way here, lights and siren, had an accident, and that person will be okay. So that's a miracle in and of itself. I'd also like to say that a total now of 63 law enforcement officers were sent to the hospital as a result of the smoke inhalation. The situation when the car caught fire, they continued to pour into the building to make sure, A, that the threat was neutralized and there was no follow-on threat, and B, the innocent were evacuated. They accomplished that seamlessly with the great work of not only the security team, but the staff that knew how to marshal these young kids and get them moving in a way that got them out of the building quickly. I mean, we're talking kids from 0 to 5. This wasn't a group that knew what to do or how to do it. They relied on the staff that was there to get it done, and they did it in a great way. So that doesn't come by accident, and we talked a little bit about this before, training, training, training. We have all been training together for many, many years. Sadly, we have responded to multiple similar kinds of events around the county and in Michigan where active shooters were, and it comes from that deep training and participation and a willingness to help each other to be better prepared to respond to things that sadly we have to in today's world. So as you saw this play forward, again, it's not a time to make a plan at the door. That's why you have to train in advance, communicate in advance, and then execute when something like this begins to happen. Security did a great job. Staff did a great job. First responders did a great job, and it doesn't come without training. There's been questions about, well, it's kind of coincidental that there was training at the temple fairly recently, and is it connected or was there something suspected? The answer is no. We're training all the time as agencies with our partners, with our houses of worship, with our schools, and that was one of those such trainings. There was no credible intelligence or belief that it was about to get hit, but it's ongoing training throughout the community, and they did a great job executing that training. Also, I'd like to thank the community at large who has really poured out their support and affection for everyone involved. The Jewish community, first and foremost, has been, I think, uplifted and hugged from our community, and that's appreciated and is encouraged. If you know someone in the Jewish community, tell them you're with them. You stand against anti-Semitism. It's not tolerable on any level, anywhere, period. And also I'd like to thank, in addition to all of our partners, the Shenandoah Country Club and the Chaldean community, which served a lot of things, an incident command post and reunification center. They jumped right in and did everything they could and did that day, and they continue to do so to this day. And then finally, everyone here at this facility where we moved on day 2 has been amazing to make the facility and capability and staff available. It's those kinds of things. When you see the worst in humanity, you see the best. And we've seen the best in humanity respond to that here in this community. So I thank everybody for that.
Good evening. Dale Young, Police Chief of West Bloomfield Township. I want to start off by saying that I echo many of the sentiments that you just heard from both the FBI and our Oakland County Sheriff. To my local, county, state, federal, and private partners, thank you for your invaluable assistance during one of the darkest days in West Bloomfield Township's history. To my officers, dispatchers, civilian staff, and fire partners, I am incredibly proud of how, without hesitation, you responded to this incident. You were pressure tested and demonstrated your readiness and the high level of your ability to respond to heinous acts of violence. To my West Bloomfield community, your Township Board of Trustees continues to invest in the professional development of its public safety personnel, to include equipping us with some of the best equipment in the industry. Your public safety is ready and vigilant to keep you safe. West Bloomfield, we will make it through this together. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to the Jewish Community CEO, Steve Ingber.
I said this yesterday. I'll say it again. I'm not surprised. I'm not shocked. And we've got to stop this. That's point blank. And I also want to remind my Jewish brethren that we are here, we will be here, we will come out stronger. We may be down, but we will reignite. Tonight is Shabbat, and I ask all of you to say a prayer. And I want to thank everybody behind me and the 605 people that ran towards trouble. So when you're looking for a friend, when you're looking for who's with us, there were 605 people willing to give their life to save us. Thank God that didn't have to happen. May we all have a better day ahead.
We'll go ahead and take some questions now. Go ahead, Corey.
Hi, Corey at the AP for Chief and Sheriff and Special Agent. If this guy drove from Dearborn Heights, he passed an awful lot of synagogues on the way. Is there a reason why he chose Temple Israel? Did he have any kind of connection with the temple or the congregation here?
I can take it. At this time, that's still part of the ongoing investigation. I don't have any information to show an intent of why this synagogue versus another.
Special Agent, do you have any hard numbers on the number of rounds that were fired or fireworks found in the trunk?
I don't yet. Right now, we're still processing and assessing everything that we have and sending to the lab. Obviously, fireworks also, when they catch fire, they condense and smaller, so we're working on getting an accurate amount of pounds, and I just didn't want to put out any inaccurate information today.
Is it typical for somebody to sit in a vehicle for multiple hours at the parking lot? If so, I understand that, but if not, did security approach the vehicle while he was sitting there, or did nobody come up to it during that time while he was in the parking lot?
That's part of our investigation as well. Many people, I don't know how to opine right now on his motives, and so I don't want to speculate and give you any information. All I know is that based upon the surveillance footage that we had, he sat in the parking lot from 10 a.m. to 12:15 p.m. and decided to start driving after that. Okay.
Did he have a self-inflicted wound as well? I should just stay here.
Yes, ma'am. Preliminary reports from the medical examiner's office show a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head.
To the head?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a written copy of your statement, of what you said?
We can provide that. This is my media coordinator, Jordan Hall. He can make sure you get a written copy.
Okay. Hi there, Kyla Russell with Local 4. You all just confirmed that the suspect was, in his car outside the temple there for a while. Do we know if he, and I heard that maybe he has been to the temple a few times in weeks leading up, or in recent days? Can you speak to that at all?
No, not at this time. It's still part of our building out the full timeline and part of that investigation, and I'm not going to be able to comment further on that.
Hi, Scott Walczak, Fox 2. Can you confirm when the truck entered and made its way, it ended up very close to where the kids were supposed to be?
I think I have a response. Ask me that question again. Say that question.
Where did the truck end up in relation to where the children's daycare center was?
They were in a different part of the building.
Okay, different part
Yeah.
of the building. Okay, thanks.
We're told by some Dearborn Heights officials that the suspect recently had family members that were killed in an Israeli airstrike, but there's also reporting that those family members were members of Hezbollah, which has been designated a terrorist organization. Do you guys know that or have that information?
So we are aware of that information. That's definitely part of our ongoing investigation at this time. I can't provide any additional on that or speculate further.
Because of the suspect's family members being killed in the strikes in Lebanon, we've been learning that some of his close friends and allies, they were actually contacting local law enforcement, saying that the suspect was exhibiting some type of suspicious behavior. Is this anything that you all have been made aware about?
We're still pursuing every lead that comes into us, and at this point in time, I'm not going to add anything additional to that. I appreciate that question.
Hi, so are you tracing this to a terror-related incident now?
So as I've said, we're just 30 hours into this, and we're letting the facts and evidence lead where we're going. And it's too early to speculate on the subject's motive. For the FBI, motive and inspiration is a key part of how we characterize an incident. At the end of the day, this is a devastating attack that was clearly targeted against one of our largest temples in the country. And we're pursuing every lead, and the FBI is working diligently. And when I'm able to provide that information in a confirmed way through the facts and the evidence that we have, we will provide that. But at this time, we're just referring to it as a targeted act of violence until we have further information to provide about his true motive.
This is going to be your last one.
Given the number of religious institutions in West Bloomfield County and in Oakland County, has patrol been increased or will it be increased at religious institutions throughout the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, we have increased it all across the county. I know Chief Young has definitely done that in West Bloomfield and has been doing it for the days and weeks prior to this, because we've been in communication regularly. And we actually communicated with our partners in Southeast Michigan chiefs today, and the resources are all prepared and all queued up, and there'll be extra attention to houses of worship throughout the region. So if you see police cars there, it's not because something's happening. It's because we want to make sure you feel safe to worship as you have the right to do in this community and in this country.
So this is going to be our last press conference for this event here. If we have new information that becomes available, you can find it either on the FBI social media account, or if it's something that's really substantial, we'll notify you for our next press conference. We want to thank you for your cooperation. You guys have been great during this time period. Hopefully everybody has a great weekend. Thank you.
Thanks, Lieutenant.